Hey, what's going on, Hybrid Touareg user group, whatever we're called. I wanted to do a quick video. This is a 2011 Touareg Hybrid. Basically, you need to do the braking system. What we have is stock brakes, about 140,000 miles on them or so. Maybe a little bit hard to tell, but there's a whole lot of rust, corrosion. They might have been done once during their lifetime. I'm not sure. They could be original. I'm really not sure. Not a lot of pad life left. But basically, this is the stock brakes that the hybrids come with. They're great brakes. They're a nice size, all that kind of good stuff. But when it came time to needing to replace them, I kind of was looking around trying to figure out, do you just put the same stuff back on it? Is there like an upgraded, better quality rotor, pad, that kind of thing for these cars? And in doing so, what we're going to do here today is test the theory that these cars are the same as the higher end Porsche models, basically. So, poking around online, I found out that this is basically the second best braking system that you can get for this body. The only one that is better than that is off of a Cayenne turbo or a Panamera turbo. So, instead of spending money back on the stock stuff, we wanted to upgrade it. So that's what we're doing today. The key to this is that the hybrids should all have the same brake system to begin with. They all come with this aluminum upright, and then if you look at it, it's again kind of hard to tell, but all the bolts go through the face of the caliper here. So there's a top and a bottom bolt. Assuming all this is the same as your hybrid, which it should be 99% of the time or 100% of the time, this upgrade should be for you. So we're going to give it a whirl, see what happens, and kind of go from there. So, this is the upgraded rotor. And that's basically why we want to do it. This is a two-piece rotor, or a floating rotor, I guess they would call it. This thing weighs a ton. So does the stock stuff. But this is going to be a nice upgrade. If we're going to spend the money, let's do something to make it a little bit better. Alright, so this is our new front caliper. I've already set this up, it's pre-loaded. I have new pads in there, have a new wear sensor for it. This has been powder coated. And basically it's going to give us a little bit of, a little something to show off underneath the wheels. I went with green for the powder coating because it's a hybrid. Thought that would be kind of a, cool way to go. I know the Porsche Cayenne hybrid uses the same, kind of color scheme with a green caliper. So anyway, that's basically what we're going to go from. Now, the calipers look identical. This is actually for the passenger side. But they look identical, but the difference is that these ears, where the mounting happens, they're actually longer on the turbo Cayenne and Panamera calipers. When I get these off, I'll give you guys a quick comparison, but that's basically going to be the difference. These ears are going to be longer, and what that's going to do is let the brake caliper stand out farther and account for the larger rotor. Alright, let's talk about the tools that we have. This is an M14 bit. This is to get the bolts out for the caliper. This is the bolts that's retaining the caliper onto the car. Then we have an 11mm socket. That's to take off the bleed valves. Loosen them, take off, whatever you want to call it. Here we have a I think it's a 47. That's for the bolt that holds the caliper onto the car. And then lastly, we have a flare nut wrench, an 11mm. That takes off the brake line off the back of the caliper. So looking at about 4 tools, take this whole thing apart and put everything back on. So not a lot of tools, which is kind of nice. I'm not really covering the rears. The rears are the same. There's not an upgrade for the rear brakes. Those are the same across all of the models, basically. So we're really just going about the front ones today. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take this all apart, and then we'll start putting the new stuff back on so you can see it. One more thing to mention. This is, I think this is the correct part, WHT004572, and these are extended caliper bolts because if you remember that those ears are going to extend the caliper out, you have to count for that with the longer bolts. So you have to get new bolts for those in order just to make them fit on. They're probably a ½ inch longer, something to that effect. All right, so let's show you the difference in the caliper bolts. So we have the stock one on the top. You can tell that the head is dirty. This is the brand new one, and you can see that's just about ½ inch longer, you know, roughly, and that's exactly how much farther out this is going to push the caliper out, and then account for the larger rotor. Alright, so I have the two bolts holding the caliper on. Those are removed. I took out my bleeder valve so I can reuse them. I've gone ahead and disconnected the brake sensor harness. And the line off the back of the caliper is also loose. So I'm going to go ahead and get this caliper off. Okay, yeah, so this thing is pretty cruddy. Yeah, time to go. I don't know how many miles this has on it exactly. I bought the car with about 50,000 miles on it, have not changed these yet. So nice to see this at the dumpster. Okay, so this is what we have once the caliper and the rotor are all removed. Clean the face of this off, use a little wire brush on it and some brake cleaner. Pretty good now, you know, pretty much good to mount something else to. Clean up these mounting points a little bit where the caliper bolt's on. You know, just want to make sure that this face is nice and clean and ready to go. So we're ready to put on the new parts. Okay, so kind of like what I wanted to show you guys. This is rather hard to do. But basically, if you look at the ears, see how this is the one that came off of the car originally. See how tall the ears are, and if you look at the new one, the ears are a lot taller. They're, you know, at least about a ½ inch taller, and that's how you get these to stick out farther. It's almost the exact same caliper, just those ears are longer. So that's about it. So anyway, that's the old caliper off. This is what we're going to put on. Stay tuned.